Hello guys and welcome back to another video. So I'm coming to you today from a little bit of a different setup. There's something going on in my regular studio, so I had to do the video here. Anyways, I still tried to make it go right. So in this video, I want to talk to you about a subject that has been coming up a lot on Palantir, YouTubers and forums and podcasts, which is splitting the company into two and having a Palantir company that is government, maybe called Gotham, and having a company that is only commercial called maybe Foundry. And I wanted to chime in on this because I hear this from more and more people, so I just wanted to give you my opinion on it and let you know what I think about it. So if you like this content, as always, please make sure you hit the subscribe button that is down there. And if you want to go further and you want to help this European not freeze over winter and be able to pay his electricity bill, please check out the Patreon link in the description box below. And you can support the channel for $5 a month. You get direct access to me and all the valuations that we use on this channel. Basically, this idea to divide up Palantir into two entities, I think it's important to check where this idea comes from. And I do believe that the idea comes from a lot of frustrated shareholders that have seen the price go to $44 at its peak. And, I know a lot of you have, dollar cost averages of, $20, $15, and some of you have been invested in the stock for, there is some viewers on the channel that have bought since the IPO, great for you. So I think that there is a lot of frustration from these shareholders and they want to see the price of Palantir going up. However, in this market, unless you're a short seller, pretty much anything else you would have invested in your money would be down, right? So it's not necessarily Palantir that is, effing up here. It's more that we are in a bear market and pretty much anything that you have your money in currently is losing money. So I do understand the logic that a lot of people, look at Snowflake and other companies and they see that they're only a commercial business and they are growing. And they're growing faster than Palantir. And they have, I think Snowflake has a 50 billion or 45 billion valuation, whereas Palantir has a 16 billion valuation, so almost 3 times as expensive as Palantir. And they just imagine that if Palantir would break up, then investors would look at it differently. So my problem with this is that you need to see it from a couple of different viewpoints. So one of them is, would this be better for the product or not? I do believe that it's the same engineer team or core engineer team that is programming the government side, and it's the same one that is programming and coming up with things for Foundry. I'm going to have an interview later this week, hopefully, with Code Strap, so he can correct me on this. But I do believe that it would harm the product because, you would divide up the same research team that Palantir has spent a lot of stock-based compensation collecting up, and you would divide them and it would just not be good from a product development viewpoint. Then there's the other viewpoint that it might be that Palantir is not the one that is, undervalued. It could be that Snowflake is insanely overvalued because essentially what you're saying when you say that this should be divided so the company valuation could go up is that the government has a minus value on Palantir, meaning that if you would, if Palantir would repackage the government, spin it off into another company, then suddenly what is left, which is currently half of the revenue of the company, more than half. So the less than half that is left that is commercial is somehow going to be valued more by investors, maybe 2 times more. So essentially what you're saying is all this government section that Palantir had 10 or 15 years to build is essentially completely worthless. So that is a funny proposition. Then there is yet other viewpoints to consider about this. So then you have this question of, okay, but is the commercial part actually growing slowly and does it require a lot of attention from investors? And this is where I differ from a lot of YouTubers because I don't believe that the commercial section is doing necessarily bad. If you look at the Q2, which by many was interpreted as a disaster, US commercial revenue grew 120% year over year. That is not a small number. Okay, then you go deeper into the data. Let me just make my head smaller. So you go deeper into the data and you see that, okay, the total commercial revenue growth was 46%. Again, I know I had this discussion with some people in my comment section that it's crazy growth. I understand that it's not 80%. Some people look at it and they go like, oh, it went from 53% to 50% to 46%. And so it's a major downturn. Let's sell Palantir. So the way I look at it is, as long as the number is north of 30%, I'm very happy with it. And honestly, the difference between 54 and 46% is very, very small. Both is insane expansion. So I don't really think that there is an issue here. Then there is this thing of them growing the customers like crazy. And I've explained it in many videos that normally Palantir customers start very, very small. I don't know the exact number, but let's say that they start with $1 million spend a year. And they tend to spend $3 million the next year. And then they to spend $9 million the next year. And then it keeps on growing like this. So essentially, if Palantir were to add a lot of salespeople and those salespeople would be doing very, very good, you wouldn't notice it on the top line because they would be making all these small $1 million deals, which in 3, 4, 5 years would turn into mega deals because the product is really good and really, really sticky. This is where you can see their commercial customers growing, and from last year in June, they have more than doubled the commercial customers. So when I see this, I'm very, very happy. And then there is these people who come in and say, yes, but Snowflake has 6,000 customers and they're expanding much faster. I get it. I get that viewpoint. However, I don't believe that Snowflake and Palantir are going after the same customers. If you look at how many customers that spend over $1 million with Snowflake, then you will see it's a very similar number to Palantir. So the only argument really that you have left is which one is going to grow faster into the future, which is a valid argument, and how big is this industry, and is this a winner-take-all market? So I don't believe that this industry is a winner-take-all market. I believe that there can be 3, 4 very successful players that, just like you have Google, Apple, Microsoft, that are in, reasonably similar areas, and, they compete with each other on some things, and, they have some key differences. I believe that this data analysis and AI can be a similar industry. On to the which one is going to grow faster, that is a concern, right? Because Snowflake is growing really, really, really fast. But if you look at it, what should Palantir do to increase its growth, So many people have said that they need to modularize their products. They need to open up, so that many engineers can be introduced to the Foundry system and they can be certified in Foundry so that, when the companies start using Palantir, then they already have a lot of engineer pool that they can choose from, and that they should have a pricing that is, based on the usage of people. And if you look in this report at some pages, this is exactly what they're doing. So look at this: usage-based pricing, enabling IT to buy Foundry with a clear, transparent model that scales in predictable ways relative to usage and value. And they are investing in growing our developer community, making Foundry documentation and APIs publicly available, enabling developers to explore Foundry from themselves, and supporting content creators across YouTube. Which ones? I want to be supported by Palantir. Damn it. Okay, so if you look at this, they are doing all the right things. So I think obviously that they need to go after smaller customers. They need to increase their customer account, and they need to do all these things that they say here that they would do. But these things are not going to happen next quarter, and they're not going to happen in 2 quarters from now. It will take some years for this to fully play out. And as I said, you can be looking at Palantir, as I said, you can be looking at Snowflake and you can be licking your wounds, but there's 2 viewpoints. Maybe Palantir is grossly undervalued because of stuff that they do, or maybe the other company is grossly overvalued. I don't know which one, but I would bet on the latter. So thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.